This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. And for today's show, we're going to be starting off with the NBA games from Tuesday night. Talk about Anthony Davis's big night. Talk about the Celtics a little bit. We're going to talk about the rest of the games that went on. And then we'll be talking about later on in the show about Jarvis Landry and his whole contract situation with the Dolphins, whether or not they're going to extend them, whether or not they should, and pretty much just all the things that have to tie into that. All right, we'll be talking about that. Third segment, we'll be talking about the teams playing in the NFL championship games this Sunday. Patriots, Jags, Vikings, and Eagles. We'll talk a little something about each of those teams, and then I'm probably going to talk, maybe fit in the Steelers a little bit into that segment too. They just fired Todd Haley, so we might talk about that. Or we might just push that to the fourth segment. And as you know, for the fourth segment, we talk about anything else going on in the world of sports. So let's get into the NBA. Let's start off with the Minnesota Timberwolves and Orlando Magic game. All right, so you had the Timberwolves. They headed into Orlando. I picked the Timberwolves in this one, so of course the Magic won this one. Magic won 108-102. Taj Gibson had 18 points, 7 rebounds, shot 9 of 16. Andrew Wiggins, not a good game from him, only 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 4 of 12. Karl Anthony Towns had 15 points, 12 rebounds. He shot 6 of 13. Jeff Teague only shot 6 of 17. He had 13 points. And Jimmy Butler had a good game. 28 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 11 of 22 in that one. As for the Magic, you had Aaron Gordon with 14 points, only shot 5 of 17 in that one, 7 rebounds though. Really was started off the season hot, was playing well for the first part of it, but now the last few weeks, he just really hasn't been able to put it together. I'm not really sure why, but he just has struggled lately. Evan Fournier had 32 points, shot 12 of 22 from the field, 6 of 12 from the three-point line. Let's see, off the bench, you had DJ Augustine with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and he shot 6 of 9 from the field. Once again, the Magic won that one. Right now, not really. I understand it's a bad loss for the Timberwolves, but going going they're going to be fine. I don't think they have a game going on tonight. I have to double check that, but Timberwolves have been playing good basketball. Loss against the Magic will probably make them rethink some things going forward. But, like I said, it's not really that much of a big deal. So, Timberwolves are still in good shape. Let's see. Then you have the Dallas Mavericks facing off with the Denver Nuggets. This one was in Denver, and Denver pulled out the win. They've won 105-102. Dirk Nowitzki in this one had 6 points, 4 rebounds, only played 23 minutes. This is Dirk's last year, right? This has to be his last year, I feel. So, it's going to be sad to see Dirk go, but I don't know. Really, when I look at his stats too, he's only playing 23 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game around there, but Dirk's still pretty efficient, I think. Dirk isn't like Kobe in his last year. All right, Kobe in his last year, I'm sorry for all you Lakers fans and Kobe fans, but Kobe in his last year was terrible. All right, I enjoyed watching that last game that he had against the Jazz where he dropped, 60 points, I think it was, 50 points, something around there. And that was cool. He did take, 50 or something shots on that game? Something like that. It was a crazy amount of shots. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, Dirk's playing pretty efficiently in his last year. A whole lot better than Kobe did. So, I just had to throw out that comparison. Both are, Dirk might be the last player from that era, I feel. I guess you could you consider LeBron James part of that era? I guess you could, but it's just ridiculous how LeBron is still out here doing what he does, having probably his best season of his career and this is his 15th year in the league. Let me see. We got Dirk still in the league. I guess you could consider LeBron, but I'm not sure really how. LeBron came in 2003. Kobe, Dirk came late 90s, I feel. So you can't really consider LeBron part of that. I don't know. LeBron's weird. He's not the new era, but he's barely part of the old era, I guess. Dwayne, yeah, I guess you consider him. You got Dwayne Wade still. Dwayne Wade's done. I guess you could consider Carmelo Anthony. He's starting to dwindle down. Let's see. Anyone else? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it as far as top players. But like I said, I mean, LeBron right now probably having his best year of his career. We talked about the Cavs yesterday on yesterday's first segment of the show. Check that out if you haven't listened to it. But just going back to the original point, Dirk is one of the last of this past era. Like I said, he had 6 points, 4 rebounds. Harrison Barnes had 17 points, 6 rebounds. He shot 5 of 9. Dennis Smith Jr., one of my favorite rookies this season, had 25 points, 5 assists. He shot 11 of 18. Not a good game from Wesley Matthews. He had 10 points, 4 rebounds, shot 3 of 12. Off the bench, Devin Harris. That is a throwback name right there. Did not know Devin Harris. I did know Devin Harris was still playing, but I didn't know he was capable of scoring 16 points in a game still. All right, he's not averaging 16, but he came off the bench yesterday for the Mavericks and he scored 16. Devin Harris has been around for a long time, it feels like. He's one of these, like a, what could I compare him to? He's like you could say he's like a Ron Artest type. I know Ron Artest is out the league now, but I mean, he's just been around for so long. Let me see if I could pull up Devin Harris's stats right here, or his years, how many years he's played. Let's see real quick. There we go. All right. So he came into the league in 2004. He's been around for about 14 seasons. That's crazy. Devin Harris, like, he's not a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but he's carved out a pretty solid career. I mean, looking at his career field goal percentage, he shot 43%. Let's see, from 3 he shot 32. Not that good. Let's see if we could pick up his points. Averaged 11 points per game in his career. His peak was from about 2007 to about 2010. So from 2000 and 2010, I mean, he did play for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different teams. He went back to the Nets twice. So Devin Harris is just one of those guys where, you know what, wasn't the best or anything like that, but did well to create himself a lengthy NBA career. All right, but now let's talk about the Nuggets. Wilson Chandler only had 6 points in this one. Nikola Jokic had 29 points, 18 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 11 of 23. He could end up being one of the better centers in the game. He just has to become more consistent, I feel. Like, he could be up there with a guy like DeMarcus Cousins. I'm not sure if you consider Anthony Davis a center or a power forward. Let's see, DeAndre Jordan. Like, the center position is still kind of weak. Let's see if we could go. So you got DeMarcus Cousins, DeAndre Jordan. Who else is a good center, like a true actual center, you know? I mean, not like true actual center, because I guess DeMarcus Cousins does shoot threes, but I really can't think of anyone. Like Hassan Whiteside, I guess you could throw him up there, but he's just really not what he was the last couple of years. Anyone else? There's really not. Al Horford, I guess, but Al Horford's more of like a stretch 5, if that makes any sense. It's like he should be playing power. You know, he plays the 4, actually. So, I mean, you can't even consider Al Horford a center. I don't know. There's not too many good centers actually in the league, so Nikola Jokic might already be up there. But Jamal Murray only had 7 points in this one. He had 3 rebounds, shot 3 of 9. Will Barton starting in this game. He had 22 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 9 of 15. Will Barton's finally been playing good this season. I think this is his 3rd year in the league, but he's finally starting to put it together, I feel. Gary Harris had 25 points, 4 assists. He shot 8 of 14 and 3 of 6 on the 3-point line. As for the third game of the night, you had the Phoenix Suns facing off with the Portland Trailblazers. I thought I was going to be clever with this game, picking Phoenix, but I was wrong. Portland won this one 118 to 111. Devin Booker had 43 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 14 of 29, had shot 5 of 12 from the 3-point line. No one else really in that starting 5 did too much. You had Tyler Ulis with only 11 points, 6 assists, shot 4 of 10. Josh Jackson, the rookie, 8 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, shot 4 of 12. And like I said, no one else really did anything really too notable. I can't believe Jared Dudley's still playing in the league too. That guy's extremely old. How long has he been around? The NBA is like, it's like there's like those hidden players that weren't the best, but are somehow still around. Let me see Jared Dudley. We're going to check him out too, see how long he's been in the league. Here we go. All right, so he's been around. Oh, he's been around not for too long, actually. He's only been around since 2007. Like I said, Devin Harris has been around since 2004. Jared Dudley is just an old man. He just looks like an old man, I feel then. That's what it's got to be. Yeah, he's only 32. I thought Jared Dudley had to have been like 37, 38. Man, that guy is just an old face. All right, Trailblazers. You had Al-Farouq Aminu with 14 points and 9 rebounds, shot 5 of 12, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. Damian Lillard had 31 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. He shot 11 of 19, 4 of 8 from the three-point line. Evan Turner had 12 points in this one, shot 6 of 10. And then you had CJ McCollum with 27 points, shot 9 of 18, and 6 of 10 from the three-point line. Now, let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans and Boston Celtics game. I picked the Celtics in this one. Obviously, they lost. All right, this game finished in overtime. New Orleans pulled it out, 116 to 113. Let's see. Let's start off with Boston stats. Al Horford had 14 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 5 of 9, 4 of 5 from the three-point line. Jason Tatum, 10 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 6 in this game, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Kyrie Irving had 27 points, 7 rebounds, shot 8 of 24, 5 of 12 from the three-point line. And then you had Jaylen Brown with 16 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 7 of 14 from the field. All right. Off the bench, you had Marcus Morris with 12 points, 8 rebounds, shot 5 of 13. I really like that addition to the Celtics big time right there. I feel he's like probably their second, maybe their best player off the bench. I'm not sure how people rate Marcus Smart, but he had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 5 of 14, 3 of 8 from the three-point line. And Terry Rozier, not a good game from him. Only 7 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 11, 1 of 7 from the three-point line off the bench. As for those Pelicans, you had Anthony Davis with the big game here, 45 points, 16 rebounds, shot 16 of 34 in the game. Didn't hit a 3 in that one, but it was all right. Obviously, the guy dropped 45 points. DeMarcus Cousins had to take a back seat, really. Only had 19 points, shot 7 of 20, did have 15 rebounds. Rajon Rondo back in Boston had 7 points, 8 assists. He shot 3 of 6. Drew Holiday had 23 points, 7 assists. He shot 9 of 16. And then Etuan Moore, not a good game from him, but nonetheless, they got the win. Moore had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 2 of 9. All right, let's talk about this game a little bit more. So, going into it, I did pick Boston, but I did know that they were going to struggle a bit against the Pelicans. Why? Because the Pelicans have two big men, really, like 2 centers. All right, Anthony Davis, if Cousins wasn't there, Anthony Davis would be playing the 5, but nonetheless, it's hard for Boston. They're still a pretty undersized team. I mean, they do have Aaron Baines. They do have Daniel Tice coming off the bench, but those are probably their 2 biggest players right there. And Tice is just a rookie who just came from Germany, and Baines, really, he's a solid role player, but that's pretty much it. He can't really guard a guy or rebound off of a guy like DeMarcus Cousins or Anthony Davis, and Al Horford's just too small to be bringing in rebounds, obviously. I mean, he did have 9 yesterday, but nonetheless, I mean, DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis combined for 31, so I mean, that's not too good. But Celtics are always going to struggle with teams who have big men, all right? That's why they've struggled with the Cavs the last few years. If you remember last year, I mean, one thing that killed Boston was the fact that they couldn't rebound the ball at all. It was just Tristan Thompson doing whatever he wanted, okay? And they've just really struggled with teams with solid big men. I think this year they're more prepared for it now that they have Baines and Tice. All right, they did well in the last game against Cleveland, a limited guy like Tristan Thompson. I mean, as it is right now, the Cavs can't really rebound either. And I don't think Boston's really going to have to deal with anyone of length unless they face off with a team like the Bucks, who got guys like John Hanson, Antetokounmpo out there. And then pretty much the Raptors got Valanciunas, but that's pretty much their only true big man on that team. Let's see, Miami Heat got Whiteside, but they don't really scare me as thinking about them knocking off Boston. Who else? Wizards, really, they got Gortat, but that's pretty much it right there. So, yeah, the East is really short of big men right there right now. So, I mean, the Celtics are looking pretty good in the East as far as making it out. So, we'll see how it all ends up. Let's see, in the West, there's really the big man is still dying, I guess you could say. So, no one really going out there. All right, so next, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about Jarvis Landry, talking about the Miami Dolphins, and talking about this whole contract situation. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. That last segment we talked some NBA, talked about the games going on that went on Tuesday night. Later on in the fourth segment, we'll be making my picks for the games tonight. And like I said, second segment, we're going to talk Jarvis Landry, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. All right, so let's talk Jarvis Landry. Right now, it looks like he's going to be an unrestricted free agent unless Miami gives him an extension, unless they franchise him. If they were to franchise him, that's $16 million right there. All right, that's pretty much what Landry's looking for right there, around there. But I don't think he's going to get that. I think Miami right now wants to pay him around $10 to $11 million. But to put that in perspective, they're paying Kenny Stills around $8 million. Jarvis Landry is way better than Kenny Stills is. All right, and he's about, $10 million is only $2 million more than what Stills is getting, and you get way more production out of Landry consistently too. Stills is only as good as a quarterback that's around him, that's throwing him the ball, I should say. Okay, so Stills isn't really all that consistent. And like I said, Landry shows up for them every single game and produces every single game. All right, so let's give a little backstory to this, little background. There was a time where the Miami Dolphins had this solid slot receiver. His name was Wes Welker, okay? Dolphins had Wes Welker. You could tell that there was something in him that was special. You could tell he was going to be a good player, all right? But as we've all come to know, the Miami Dolphins, that front office has pretty much been a dumpster fire since Dan Marino left, okay? Consistently not made the right move, consistently kept the wrong players, and consistently let go of the right players. That's what they did with Wes Welker, all right? Wes Welker, for those who don't remember, and I'm being a little bit sarcastic here, but he ended up on the Patriots. What did he do? Oh, he was just a guy who terrorized the Dolphins for 2 weeks for every time that he was on the Patriots, every season, all right? Year after year. He also won a few Super Bowls and had a pretty solid NFL career, if I say so. This is the Dolphins' second opportunity to get this one right. Don't let this become a Wes Welker situation. Don't let Wes Welker leave. All right. Right now, I'd say that Jarvis Landry is already a better player than Wes Welker. All right. Landry's the first player to ever catch over 400 passes in his first 4 years. All right. In the last 4 years, obviously, he caught 400. The only other player to catch 400 passes is Antonio Brown in the last 4 years. Okay. I'm not saying Landry's on the same level as Antonio Brown because he's not. There isn't one receiver who's on Antonio Brown and on Antonio Brown's level right now. All right. But he has stats that are similar as far as catches go. Yes, he doesn't rack up too many yards. You could say, though, that was due to the fact that Jay Cutler was his quarterback this year. I think Landry came close to breaking 1,000 yards, but he just came up short by 13 yards, I believe, or something like that. So, yeah, he came up short and didn't reach 1,000 yards. Did lead the league in catches with 112, but fans and I feel like the team's biggest problem with Landry is that he doesn't go for too many yards. Yeah, so he finished with 987 yards, okay? So like I said, there's that. But, as far as that goes, you can't really look too much at that because Landry does a whole lot more for that offense. Let me say this, okay? Jarvis Landry right now, with Tannehill being healthy, Landry is by far the best player on the Miami Dolphins offense. By far, okay? Tannehill's been a serviceable quarterback, and we'll end up talking about that maybe one day. But, yeah, like I said, Landry is by far the best player on that offense. He makes the offense better, okay? He shows up consistently every game, unlike a guy like Devontae Parker, who we'll talk about in a few moments. But like I said, Landry is the best player on that team, okay? So right now, I was looking at the contract numbers, all right? Landry's looking for about $16 million. He's not going to get that. I was thinking of more comparing him to guys like Dez Bryant, Demaryius Thomas, T.Y. Hilton, okay? Let me see Demaryius Thomas' stats. So Demaryius Thomas had 83 catches, 949 yards, 5 touchdowns this season. He's making $14 million a year, okay? Jarvis Landry, like I said, he had 112 catches, 987 yards, 9 touchdowns. Obviously, those are better numbers. How about T.Y. Hilton? T.Y. Hilton had 57 catches, 966 yards, 4 touchdowns. Landry still beats him. All right, let me look at Dez Bryant's numbers right here. And I know for a fact Dez Bryant's numbers are going to be extremely lower. Let's see. All right, so this season, Dez Bryant had, let me see if I can pull up. All right, so he had 69 receptions, 838 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like I said, Dez Bryant right now is making $14 million. So is Demaryius Thomas. T.Y. Hilton's making $13 million, okay? I'm thinking that the Dolphins probably want to pay him in the Doug Baldwin range with about $11.5 million. Keenan Allen range, $11.5 million. Okay, let me see. I'm looking at the contract numbers right now. Let me see. Yeah, so right now, Devontae Adams is getting 14. Alshon Jeffrey's getting 13. Like I said, T.Y. Hilton's getting 13 million. Demaryius Thomas is getting 14, and Dez Bryant's getting 14. Julio Jones is also getting 14 million, a little bit more, but he's got a long contract. All right. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm giving Landry about a 5-year deal worth 60 mil, paying him 14 million a year. Okay, that's what he's worth right now. Like I said, he has better stats than Demaryius Thomas, better stats than T.Y. Hilton, and he's got better stats than Dez Bryant. I get the fact that he's a slot receiver, and normally you don't pay that for a slot receiver, but this is a slot receiver who's putting up big numbers nonetheless, okay? So let's go say they don't pay him. What happens next? Chances are it happens just like Wes Welker. With Wes Welker, he's probably gonna end up going to the Patriots. He fits that offense perfectly. All right, Tom Brady's probably got about 3 years left in his career. He says he wants to play till 40. He's 45, so that's about 5 years. I'm giving him 3. All right, you give Tom Brady a receiver like Jarvis Landry, Tom Brady might get to 5 years. Landry's going to make that offense that much better. All right, he runs his routes well, does not drop balls. And like I said, he doesn't go for too many yards after the catch, but with the way the Patriots offenses ran, that's no problem. All right, so let's talk about the Dolphins without Jarvis Landry. You have Ryan Tannehill coming back off of major knee surgery, okay? Blew out his knee twice. Partially tore 1 year. Following training camp, he completely tore it. All right, so it's boom. You got Ryan Tannehill, who loves to run the read option on that offense. Probably not going to be able to do too much of that because he's not going to be able to cut and move as much. All right, now you got to worry about how his ACL is when he's trying to plant and throw the ball. Okay, so you got that quarterback. You got Devontae Parker, who is going to become your number 1 receiver if you don't bring back Jarvis Landry. Okay, let's say, what do we think of the Devontae Parker? I think that Devontae Parker so far is a bust. Parker was drafted with the 15th pick in the first round, I think, in 2015, and the guy can't stay healthy, and when he is healthy, he's extremely inconsistent. Only shows up in garbage time, at least that's what I feel. All right, just really, like I said, just can't stay on the field and doesn't play well. This season was supposed to be his breakout year, just like the year before was, but he only had 57 catches, 670 yards, 1 touchdown. Not good enough. I think T.Y. Hilton, he had the same amount of catches and turned that into over 900 yards. Devontae Parker did not do that. All right, like I said, Devontae Parker doesn't show up consistently, and he can't stay healthy. So, how about Kenny Stills? Kenny Stills did play well when Ryan Tannehill was there. All right, this year, Kenny Stills really didn't do too much at all. Let me see if I can pull up his stats also. Let's see, Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills had he had 58 catches, 847 yards, 6 touchdowns. So that's not too bad. That's a solid number 2. Okay? But without Landry, Stills is going to be your most productive receiver, and you really can't count on Parker. Okay, they drafted Leonte Carroo in the 3rd round. I think it was last year. He hasn't done anything so far in his career. Jakeem Grant, he's a small guy, but he's shown flashes of what he could be. And this year in the draft, you can go for a guy like Calvin Ridley, unless a team like the 49ers or Bears pick him up. Then after that, I mean, the rest of the draft class is pretty weak as far as wide receivers go. If I'm the Dolphins, like I said, I'm giving Landry $14 million a year at 5 years. Okay? I don't care that he's a slot receiver. I don't care that he doesn't get too many yards after the catch or anything like that. This is the best receiver Miami has had in probably the last 10 years. Let's see if we can... Miami, I guess Mike Wallace would be the last, but Jarvis Landry blows Mike Wallace out of the water. All right, so for Miami to not bring back Landry would just be a huge mistake for them. It would just be, it wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, I wouldn't get it at all. Okay, like I said, Devontae Parker, you can't rely on him. You can rely on Kenny Stills, but he's a number 2 at best. He's not going to be a number 1 receiver. All right. And like I said, I mean, you lose Landry, he's probably going to end up on the Patriots, and he's going to kill you year after year. So if I'm Adam Gase, I'm bringing back Landry. That way I don't have to worry about drafting a receiver in here in the draft because they have a whole lot more problems that they need to deal with on the team. You still need to address the linebackers. All right, you need to address the defensive line because they're getting older. Cameron Wake's near the end of his career. Okay, you need to address that offensive line finally. They've been disregarding that guard spot for the last 3 years. All right, you need a new tight end. And depending on how Kenyon Drake does in his second year as the lead back, you might need you're still going to need actually a backup running back, or at least another running back on the team to draft. And those are all bigger problems to deal with in wide receiver if you bring Jarvis Landry back. So if I'm the Dolphins, like I said, I'm bringing him back, but if they don't, it'd just be another idiotic move from that front office, and their season without him probably won't be what they expect. Okay? Like I said, bring back Jarvis Landry, give him 5 years, $60 million, and everyone goes home happy. But we're going to see what they're going to do. Personally, I don't think they're going to bring him back. All right? I saw a story from the Miami Herald saying that Landry, like you could tell, he is a bit of a hothead. All right? He's hard to reach. He's hard to talk to. He really doesn't take instruction well from the coaches. And at times he has ran his own routes. Okay? Teams like the Patriots, they don't deal with that. They cut him right after that. The Dolphins, I don't think, are in that position right now. All right, the Dolphins are trying to get good. The Patriots are already great. Okay, if you're a team like the Dolphins, trying to rebuild, trying to pretty much, you're not going to catch the Patriots yet or anything like that until Tom Brady retires or unless Bill Belichick leaves. And even if Bill Belichick leaves, you still got to worry about Brady. But nonetheless, all right, you're a team that's trying to improve. You're not going to improve if you let a guy like Landry go. You're going to get worse. Like I said, this wide receiver draft is pretty weak after Ridley and a couple others. All right, so if the Dolphins want to take that chance, they can, but I think it'd be the wrong move, and I think they are going to end up making the wrong move. So we're just going to have to wait and see how it all ends up. That's all I got to say about that. Next up, we're going to be talking about the teams in the NFL championship games, talking about the Patriots, the Jags, I wanted to say Steelers, but they ended up choking. We're going to talk about the Vikings and Eagles, not going to talk about the games in depth or anything like that, but talk a little bit about matchups, talk about team strengths, talk about their weaknesses, and anything else. We might talk about Todd Haley being fired, or we could just push that to the fourth segment. So we'll see how much time we got left. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. Like I said, next up, we'll be talking about the 4 teams left in the playoffs. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. Now, last segment, we basically just spent it talking about how the Dolphins could make another huge mistake. I mean, it wouldn't be the first, and it's definitely probably not going to be the last. All right. I think they should re-sign Jarvis Landry. Like I said, I think they should give him 5 years, $60 million, $14 a year, right there. But I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to let him walk right into Bill Belichick's arms. All right. And it's going to be Wes Welker 2.0. Okay. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's how I see it playing out. Good luck going into the season with Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills as your top 2 receivers. All right. Good luck with going in with Leonte Crew or Jakeem Grant as your number 3. Jakeem Grant could be good, but we don't know yet. Leonte Crew hasn't done a single thing for the Dolphins since he's been drafted last year. All right. And this receiver draft isn't particularly strong. So unless you get Calvin Ridley, then good luck with that. But they're the Dolphins, so they know what they're doing, right? No. They don't. All right, but let's talk about the teams who are in the playoffs right now. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's talk about the New England Patriots. I almost wanted to call them the Tom Brady's. Yeah, let's talk about the Patriots. Let's talk about the Vikings. Let's talk about the Eagles. All right. One thing I haven't liked so far this week is that everyone's already handing the Super Bowl to Tom Brady and the Patriots. And that's fine if you are picking the Patriots as your Super Bowl pick. Go ahead. That makes all the sense in the world, I guess you could say. Okay? But it's not set in stone. It's not done. Okay? People are going about this the wrong way. People still look at this league as if it's quarterback versus quarterback. That's probably the biggest problem with analysis and reporters and fans. Everyone looks, oh, this team has the better quarterback, so this team's going to win. That's not how the NFL is anymore. Open your eyes. It's time to. Okay? Blake Bortles, did he get the Jaguars to the AFC Championship? No. Did Case Keenum? Yeah, but he did have a bunch of help to get there. All right, did Nick Foles get the Eagles to the NFC Championship? Definitely not. Did his coaches put him in the best position, put the team in the best position for them to get there? Yeah. All right, so you can't give me this, oh, it's Tom Brady versus Blake Bortles, and it's going to be Tom Brady versus Nick Foles or Case Keenum, okay? That's not how it works anymore. All right, we all, as fans, reporters, and writers, need to do better as far as analyzing the game. Okay, it's a whole lot more than quarterback versus quarterback. All right, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, #1 defense in the NFL, going up against that so-so Patriots offensive line, going up against their all okay receivers, going against their best tight end in the league, Rob Gronkowski. All right, and you know what? Let's talk about that right now. Let's talk about the Jaguars and the Patriots. Okay, I'm not going to give too much about it, but I got some words to say. Okay, so like I said, it's not just Tom Brady versus Blake Bortles in this game. This is that Jaguars front seven versus Dion Lewis. It's that Jaguars defensive line versus the offensive line, obviously. And you know something? Your boy Tom Brady struggles when there's pressure in his face. Struggles mightily. Okay? That is his biggest weakness, pressure. You know who puts solid pressure on the quarterback week in and week out? The Jacksonville Jaguars, Calais Campbell, Marcel Darius, that other defensive end that I can't pronounce his last name. You really got to learn how to say that too. But those three right there, always trying to get to the quarterback, always successful getting to the quarterback, okay? I think the Jaguars' game plan in this game should be put Telvin Smith on Rob Gronkowski and have a safety shadow on him too. Pretty much double Rob, all right? Double Gronk, I should say, not Rob. Yeah, so double Gronk and have Jalen Ramsey, AJ Bouye play man. Okay, because Brandon Cooks, I'll tell you this much. He's not getting past Ramsey. Danny Amendola, not getting past Bouye. Okay? Yeah, you can tell me Antonio Brown did. Antonio Brown caught 2 deep touchdowns at Bouye. Yeah, that's Antonio Brown. All right? It was my fault for even doubting Antonio Brown going into this game. I was saying, oh, yeah, Antonio Brown, he's not going to be 100%. He's coming off a torn calf muscle. Just throw Bouye on him, okay? Yeah, just do that. He'll limit him. Brown won't do anything. No, Brown did a whole lot. So I was wrong about that. But I guess Doug Marrone listens to the show because he took my advice. Or maybe I'm just an NFL genius. Who knows, okay? But, like I said, Danny Amendola and Brandon Cooks don't scare me against these cornerbacks. All right, Gronk is going to do what Gronk does, but you could limit him. I say you do that by putting Telvin Smith on him, who's quick and physical, and then you throw a guy like Barry Church or Tashawn Gibson on him and have him shadow him a little bit. So Smith doesn't get beat one-on-one. All right, defensive line will do well to stop the run, and they'll do well to get to the quarterback of the field. Okay, and I'm not making my prediction right now. I'm not saying the Jags are going to win because you know what? You still got to deal with Tom Brady. Let's say that the Jags don't put too much pressure on him. Tom Brady's still going to find a way probably because it's Tom Brady, obviously. Okay, and as far as the defensive side for the Patriots goes, they just got to stop Leonard Fournette. They got to figure out a way to have Blake Bortles try and beat them. All right, so if I'm the Patriots, I'm stacking the box. Big time. Not letting Fournette get anything, okay? And you know what? I'm telling Blake Bortles if I'm Bill Belichick, go ahead, do it, beat me. Go ahead, try it, okay? Because you know what? Chances are Blake Bortles isn't going to be able to. Last week he played well. He was pretty average, all right? Made some big throws in the fourth quarter that kept him ahead in the game, okay? He only threw 1 touchdown in that game. The Patriots, they don't really allow you to score on them, that defense. They'll give up all the yards in the world, but you will not get in that end zone. So if they're stopping Leonard Fournette, I might be shifting to the Patriots as my pick. I don't know. I'm kind of scared now. All right. But yeah, if they're stopping Fournette, chances are, Blake Bortles is going to struggle to throw touchdowns. Okay, like that has to be the game plan for the Patriots defense. It's almost like crazy if they don't do that. Just stack the box. Bill Belichick has to know that, you know what, my defense as it is doesn't give up points. Leonard Fournette is their best offensive weapon. Let's take him out of the game and force Blake Bortles to throw to guys like D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee, and Allen Hurns. All right. New England's cornerbacks aren't like the best or anything like that, but they're a whole lot better than Pittsburgh's. So Blake Bortles really isn't going to play as well, I don't think, against the Patriots as he did against the Steelers. All right, so yeah, if I'm the Patriots, I'm stacking the box, forcing Blake Bortles to beat me. If I'm the Jags on defense, I'm putting Telvin Smith on Gronk, having the safety help double him. All right, and I'm having Jalen Ramsey and AJ Bouye play man because Brandon Cooks and Danny Amendola are not getting past either of those two. All right, Patriots on offense are going to have to run a lot of underneath routes. They're going to have to run a lot of running back screens, wide receiver screens, okay? Expect that. It's not going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be very low scoring. I'll tell you that much right now. All right, it'll only be fun for you if you enjoy watching defense. So, yeah, it's going to be fun for me, but for those who love seeing shootouts, love seeing quarterbacks throw all over the place, that's not going to be the case. This is going to be an ugly defensive game right here. All right? Not making my pick. Just wanted to talk a little bit about it. All right? So we talked about both teams' strengths, both teams' weaknesses. If I didn't make it clear, Blake Bortles is the Jaguars' weakness, okay? We talked about some matchups. Now let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings and Philadelphia Eagles game. What do we think of this game? We think that this is going to be an ugly game also. All right? Eagles' weakness is Nick Foles throwing the ball deep. All right? They're going to have to run the same exact game plan on offense that they did last week. But you know what? That Vikings defense is a whole lot better than Atlanta's defense, and Atlanta has a pretty good defense. All right? If I'm at Minnesota, their defensive coordinator, I'm telling them, you know what? Take away all the short routes, take away all the underneath stuff, take away all the screens, force Nick Foles to throw the ball deep. All right? That's the game plan to beating the Eagles right there. Force Nick Foles to throw the ball more than 15 yards. All right, I don't think he could do it. Okay, Eagles last week, like I said, the perfect game plan for him. Set him up perfectly. Eagles have one of the best coaching staffs in the league. But if I'm the Vikings, all you got to do is take away the underneath stuff, try and force Nick Foles to throw deep. You do that, you're going to have all the chances in the world to win. All right, so yeah, Nick Foles is the Eagles' weakness, but it's not like a Blake Bortles type of weakness where he's just not a good quarterback. Nick Foles just has deficiencies to the way he plays quarterback, all right? He can't beat you long, he can beat you short. Okay, so I'm doing that if I'm the Vikings. If I'm the Eagles, I'm running the ball a whole bunch on offense again. All right, J.J. got going really well in the first quarter, played well in the first half. After that, was kind of limited, but he did well as far as the running back screens went. All right, did well in the receiving end. I think he had around 64 yards receiving, I believe. So get J.J. involved in the game plan again, all right? Get him a heavy dosage of the ball in the first half. Okay, let's see what do they got to do on defense. On defense, it just comes down to stopping Case Keenum. Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon aren't going to beat you, obviously. So you know what? Take away Stephon Diggs. That's number one right there. All right. I'm not sure if Darby's going to be covering him or if they have someone else that's going to be covering Diggs, but Diggs is number one. Take him away. All right. Keenum without his best receiver is going to have to throw to Thielen, but the Eagles have quick linebackers. They got quick safeties, so I think Thielen could be limited in this game. Okay? This is going to be these two games right here are not going to be fun. They're not going to be good for ratings. They're not going to be good for the NFL. Why? Because it's going to be defense, defense, defense. I love it, but casual fans not going to, okay? So like I said, as far as the Eagles and Vikings, it really just comes down to the Vikings on defense, taking away the underneath routes, taking away the screens, and forcing Nick Foles to throw the ball deep, okay? Forcing him to make those 15-yard throws. Forcing him to make those 20-yard throws. I'm not sure if he could do it. This game could go either way. These teams are extremely alike, too. Both have really great defenses. Both have okay running games. Like, they produce, you know? Okay, both right now don't have the best quarterback, but so far the quarterback has been able to get the job done. All right, and both have solid tight ends. Both have solid number one receivers. Okay, and then secondary number 2, number 3 receivers. These teams are exactly alike. I'm not sure which way I want to go picking this game right now. I think the Vikings defense is a little bit better than Philly's, and I think the Vikings receivers are a little bit better than Philly's also. All right, I'll take Philly's running game over the Vikings. And as far as quarterback, I mean, I take Case Keenum over Nick Foles right now just based off of how they've been playing. But you got to think about coaching. Both coaching staffs, very good. Both very similar. Both know how to game plan for their players. That's the biggest thing. That's why these teams have become so successful this year. All right? Coaches try and have players fit into their schemes. Okay, that's the wrong way to do it. You need to fit in to your players, play to their strengths. Don't try and force your players to play a certain way. All right? Because I'll tell you this much. I'm going to tell you a little secret. Everyone in the NFL is good. The only reason why people in the NFL, players in the NFL, really don't work out, I feel, is because they're not smart enough to understand the game, or they just don't fit schemes. All right? I think that's the biggest reason why players in the NFL don't work. All right? Because everyone's got the ability, okay? But, like I said, it's just either you don't fit a scheme or you're just not smart enough to learn it. Okay? So, like I said, I mean, who would have thought that Case Keenum would be in the NFC title game this year? All right, go ahead, tell me Sam Bradford's going to get hurt and tell me they're going to play in Case Keenum. I'm not expecting them to make it to the NFC Championship. All right, go ahead and tell me that Carson Wentz is going to blow his knee out in the beginning of the season at Week 14 against the Rams, and Nick Foles is going to take over. I'm not going to believe that they're going to make it to the NFC Championship either. Okay? These teams are well coached, and they got solid all-around teams, so it's going to be a fun game. Like I said, I'm not making my pick yet. I'm going to wait for Friday for that, but we're just going to have to wait and see now. And as far as the Jaguars and Patriots game, don't write the Jaguars off so quickly. If you want to pick the Patriots, go ahead, but be smart about it. Okay, don't just think it's Tom Brady versus Blake Bortles, because I'll tell you this much, it's not. All right, there's a whole bunch of other factors that can go into it, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So next up, that's actually going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking some more NBA, talking about the games going on tonight. Maybe say a few words about the Steelers firing Todd Haley, and maybe talk about Sam Bradford, Alex Smith, Tyrod Taylor, and where they could end up. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. In that last segment, we talked about the teams remaining in the playoffs. We talked about the Patriots and Jaguars matchup. Talked about what each team needed to do in order to win, and we did the same for the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know why I draw a blank every time I think of the NFC. We talked about that, and as you know, for this segment, usually it's just pretty much I'm making picks. We're talking about any news, notes, anything else going on in the world of sports. Or I just speak my mind, just talk about whatever's going through my mind. And I'm going to do that real quick, all right? I don't know why it's become such a big deal, why it's become a story, but it has, okay? So there's this big old thing about Paul Pierce, February 11th, getting a video tribute, his jersey retired by the Boston Celtics, okay? Celtics also planned after, though, mind you, that the Celtics had a video tribute plan for Isaiah Thomas on January 2nd, I believe it was, or 3rd. Isaiah Thomas wasn't playing in that game. Family wasn't going to be there, so he said no. He didn't want it that day. All right, so the next day that Cavs come to town in Boston is February 11th. And like I said, that's when Paul Pierce is having his night. Now, people are making it a big deal because Paul Pierce said, nah, don't do it. That's my night. And you know what? That's fine. Paul Pierce did way more than Isaiah Thomas ever did for the Celtics. I will tell you that much. All right. Paul Pierce brought a championship to Boston. Yeah, you could say KG and Ray Allen were the reason why, but who won Finals MVP that year? Okay. Isaiah Thomas as a Celtic was a nice story. Played there for 2.5 years, I believe. Had one of the greatest offensive scoring seasons in Boston Celtics history. That's cool. That's great. Give him a video tribute, but you know what? Not on Paul Pierce's day. Okay? Paul Pierce means way more to the Celtics than Isaiah Thomas could ever. Okay, Isaiah Thomas should have took that video tribute when the Cleveland first came to Boston on January 3rd. Who cares if you're hurt, dude? You only played 2 years there. Okay? Rajon Rondo after the Celtics game yesterday, obviously, Rondo playing for the Pelicans, was asked about it. Rondo said he didn't like the fact that they were even going to give him a video tribute. This is one of my favorite quotes, too. He said, he asked one of the reporters, or one of the guys out there, what do we hang here? The guy told him, title banners. He said, okay, you don't hang banners for conference championships. All right, that right there, because I've been kind of on the fence. I was thinking, you know what? Yeah, give Isaiah Thomas a little 30-second video on February 11th. It's no big deal. But then Rajon Rondo brought me back to my senses. All right, Isaiah Thomas never accomplished anything with the Celtics. Yeah, he had that great offensive scoring year, and you know what? Isaiah Thomas with the Celtics was a big part. He did mean a lot to that city, I'll tell you that much, to that team. Okay? But that's it. He just had that one really good year. Okay? He did help get Horford there. I'll give you that. He did help get Gordon Hayward there. All right? And you know what? He did help get Kyrie Irving to Boston, too. That was a result of him leaving, but nonetheless, he did a lot. All right, but if Paul Pierce wants February 11th to be his own night, then February 11th is going to be Paul Pierce's own night. All right? Doesn't matter if you like it. Doesn't matter if you think Paul Pierce is being a diva. It doesn't matter. All right? Paul Pierce is 10 times the Celtic Isaiah Thomas will ever be. Paul Pierce is a top 5 Celtic. Okay? So, that's all I had to say about that. All right, like I said, Isaiah Thomas did a lot for Boston, but only for 2 years. Didn't win anything. Paul Pierce won something. Never left. All right. Did a lot. Top 5 Celtic in my eyes. Now, let's talk some NBA games for Wednesday. Let's make some picks. I always do well with my picks when there's a bunch of games. If there's only 4 games, I usually get about 3 of them wrong. And I don't know why, but that's just the way it happens. All right. So, let's make some picks. All right, so first up, we got the Wizards facing off with the Hornets. Somehow, the Charlotte Hornets are favored in this game. I got to check why. Is John Wall not playing or something? No, I think he's playing, so I do not get why the Wizards are not favored. But I'm going to go with the Wizards. Vegas might know something I don't, but I'm going with the Wizards. All right, Pelicans on a back-to-back, facing off with the Hawks. Back-to-backs are tough, but I'm going with the Pelicans still. Anthony Davis coming off a big game. I expect him to play just as well today, and I expect DeMarcus Cousins to play better. All right, then we got the Spurs facing off with the Nets. A little quick note on the Spurs, because that's what we do in the 4th segment. We do news and notes. All right, Kawhi Leonard's going to be out for a little period of time. Still trying to rehab that quad injury. They should have never brought him back until he was 100%. I don't know why teams always rush players back. Don't bring them back until they're completely ready. It just doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, you got to get your legs back and get back into conditioning shape. But if that hip or if that quad isn't healed up all the way, why are you even bringing the guy back? So yeah, he's going to be out for a period of time, but I'm still going with the Spurs over the Nets. Let's see. We got the Pistons facing off with the Raptors. I'm going with the Raptors in this one. Raptors coming off of a loss to the Sixers the other day. I think they're going to pick it up here and play well. So I got the Raptors. Then we got the Golden State Warriors facing off with the Chicago Bulls. I'm going with the Golden State Warriors. Best team in the league. Yeah, best team in the league. I'll give them it now. All right, so I got them beating the Bulls. Then we got the Knicks facing off with the Grizzlies. I got the Knicks. Grizzlies just aren't a good team right now. Then we got the Miami Heat facing off with the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a tough one to pick. Heat have been playing good basketball, but the Bucks are a good team. Bucks are favored. They're at home. I'm going with the... This is tough. This is the toughest pick of the night. I'm going with the Bucks. I'm going to go back to that one in a few moments. Let me make some other picks. All right, we got the Lakers facing off with the Thunder. This one's on ESPN. No Lonzo Ball, so I won't be watching. All right, Lonzo Ball gets ratings. I'll tell you that much. Brandon Ingram's back. Brandon Ingram is back, but I'm going to go with the Thunder in this one. They've been playing okay basketball the last couple of weeks. And that Oklahoma City Thunder team has some huge problem with the refs. So does the rest of the league, too. That's one thing. Like, I've always thought that, because obviously all referees are bad if we're being real here, okay? Umpires in baseball, referees in hockey, referees in the NBA, and referees in the NFL. All right? They're all bad, okay? I don't understand why referees want to become referees, because people are just going to not like you. But nonetheless, they are. Okay, so for me, I think it comes down to the NBA and the NFL is having the worst refs. I think I'm going to go with the NBA right now as having the worst refs, okay? The NFL is pretty bad, but it's not as bad as the NBA is right now. Refs, I feel, in the NBA will call fouls just when they feel like it. And just, I don't know, it makes no sense how they call fouls. There's no consistency. All right. Sometimes they're going to call a travel. Like, they'll just let stuff go. Like I said, like, there's just no consistency whatsoever. They'll let travels go. Then they'll call travels. All right. They'll let hard fouls that should have been called go. And then they'll call ones where you barely get tapped. Okay. There's literally no consistency whatsoever in the NBA as far as refereeing goes. And I think the NBA does need to do something about it. I'm not sure what you can do about it because of the refs, and it's pretty much all objective as far as making calls. So, I mean, I'm not sure, but there is a problem in the NBA as far as the refs go. But yeah, going back to my pick, I got the Thunder. All right, then we got the Jazz versus the Kings in Sacramento. I wonder how much tickets are to this game. Let's check that out. They should be pretty cheap. Ooh, $12. Go see Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox. Might just have to do that. That might be the plan tonight. All right. So the Utah Jazz, like I said, facing off with the Kings in Sacramento. I'm going to go with Utah. The Kings are going to start playing their younger guys, and it's not going to look good, Kings fans, but, I mean, you need these guys to develop because this Kings team needs to be good eventually. I mean, they've been bad since 2006. This is ridiculous. Get it going. All right, but I'm going with the Jazz. You got Gobert. You got Donovan Mitchell. Actually, I think Gobert might be out. I think he's been hurt, actually. I can't remember exactly. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Jazz. Really like Donovan Mitchell. I think he's probably the second best rookie in the league right now. And then we got the Nuggets facing off with the Clippers. That's going to be a fun one to watch, actually. I might not go to the King game tonight just so I can watch the Nuggets play. All right, yeah, so the Nuggets facing off with the Clippers on ESPN at 7:30. This is a tough one right here. Clippers coming off a big win against the Rockets. Remember that big old fight they had after the game? Well, not big old fight. I mean, it was all reported. There was no cameras or anything like that. But if Adrian Wojnarowski reports about it, then it's probably true. I'm going to go with the... Wow, tickets available from $3 in this game. That's crazy. Ooh, DeAndre Jordan's out. Actually, he's been out. You know what? I'm going to go with the... I'm going to go with the Clippers. I trust Blake Griffin and Lou Williams that much, all right? So I'm going to go with the Clippers in this game. Think they're going to play well, but I think it's going to be a fun, close game. So let's go back to that Heat and Bucks game. Who does Jesse got for that game? All right, and I'm talking to third person. You know who else talked in third person? Bo Jackson. If Bo Jackson can do it, I can do it. All right. So Miami Heat facing off with the Bucks. I think I want to go with the Bucks. Let me see the injury report. Anyone hurt? Obviously Jabari Parker. Thanks for letting nothing ESPN. But I'm gonna go with the Bucks. They're the home team, so I gotta go with them. All right. If it's a tough game, you don't know who to pick. Always go with the home team. Okay. So those are my picks. Let me recap them. I got the Wizards beating the Hornets, the Pelicans beating the Hawks, the Spurs beating the Nets, the Raptors beating the Pistons, the Warriors beating the Bulls, the Knicks beating the Grizzlies, the Bucks beating the Heat, Thunder beating the Lakers, Jazz beating the Kings, and the Clippers beating the Nuggets. I don't think I made one upset pick. Oh, yeah, I did. It was the Wizards game versus the Hornets, but that's not even an upset. I don't understand how Charlotte is favored in this game. So there I go, picking all the favored teams, all right? Now, podcast isn't over yet. Got a few thoughts, news, and notes, all right? Steelers, they fired Todd Haley. This has to be like a purely relationship type of move, okay? I know Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger did have their differences, never really saw eye to eye, so I think that's pretty much what it is right there. Because the Steelers' offense this season, I mean, unless I was missing something, played really well. So, I mean, it really, other than Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger are not seeing eye to eye. I mean, there's really no other reason as to why I could see Todd Haley being fired. I mean, it just doesn't really make too much sense. All right. So now they're without an offensive coordinator. I'm not sure who they're going to bring in, but I think they need to get rid of that defensive coordinator first and foremost. I mean, that defense played brutal in the playoffs. Terrible. So, I mean, the Steelers are doing whatever they're doing right now. They got to lock up Le'Veon Bell. If the Steelers don't lock up Le'Veon Bell, they're going to be in big trouble next season. I'll tell you that much, all right? Let's see. Is there anything else going on in the NFL land? I think that might be pretty much it. I mean, we got to watch this whole Jarvis Landry contract situation, but we talked about that in the second segment. I think that's pretty much all that's going on right now in the league. So that's actually going to wrap it up for today's show. Let me see if there's actually any college basketball going on tonight. Let me see. Let me pull that up. All right. So actually, let's go over the scores from yesterday because we're a college basketball podcast too. All right. So we had a ranked matchup of North Carolina facing off with Clemson. North Carolina was ranked 15th. Clemson was ranked 20th. North Carolina won 87-79. All right, Purdue ranked number 3 beat Wisconsin 78-50. Cincinnati ranked number 12 beat UCF 49-38. Ooh, that's a brutal score. Kentucky upset by South Carolina. Kentucky was ranked 18th. South Carolina won 76-68. And Oklahoma, who was ranked number 4, was upset by Kansas State. I'm telling you, in college football, college basketball, Kansas State, Iowa State, always going to have at least a few upsets a year. All right? Those are the upset teams right there. But Kansas State beat Oklahoma 87-69. There really isn't like a clear-cut number 1 team in college basketball right now. Everyone is losing to everyone. So, I mean, picking your NCAA brackets once the tournament comes is going to be so difficult. All right. As for the games today, you got number 1 Villanova playing Georgetown. You got the, man, I'm really frustrated. I can't remember the rivalry game of Auburn and Alabama. What's the name of the rivalry game? I'm sorry, guys. I forgot. I don't know what the name is. But you got 17th ranked Auburn facing Alabama. You got number 7 Wichita State facing off with SMU. You got number 8 Texas Tech facing off with Texas. Number 19 Seton Hall facing off with Creighton. Number 11 Xavier facing off with St. John's. Number 22 Ohio State facing off with Northwestern. Number 21 Tennessee facing off with Missouri. Number 14 Arizona facing off with Cal, Berkeley. And you got number 24 TCU facing off with Iowa State. Upset. Ooh. Actually, Iowa State's 10-6. I'm calling the upset. All right. Game's on ESPNU. It's going to happen. And then you got number 16, Arizona State facing off of Stanford. At one time, Arizona State was ranked number 3. And it was like last week, I think. And now they're already back to number 16. Like I said, there's not one clear-cut best team in college basketball right now. So anyone could go out and win the tournament, obviously. But that's now going to wrap it up for this podcast. All right. We talked about NBA from yesterday. We talked about Jarvis Landry. We talked about the remaining playoff teams. We talked about the Steelers, made my picks for today, and we talked some college basketball. All right? So that's actually going to wrap it up for today's podcast. Thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back tomorrow, so stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.